Hi everyone, here we are in the First Drop kitchen. Tuesday today, so the cellar door trades for lunch Wednesday to Sunday. So we've got access to the kitchen and to the beautiful stove. You need a PhD to start it. We're going to cook a classic old, I want to say it's an old hunter's dish. It's an old dish that probably, people working out in the fields used to, maybe find a rabbit, trap a rabbit, shoot a rabbit, and put it on the fire, very slowly for hours and hours and cook it down. This dish will probably take you about an hour to cook and about maybe 10 minutes to prepare. So here's cheers. Rabbit stifado. This is an old Greek recipe. It's my mother's old recipe, and it's a classic. Just take the edge off a little bit. Okay, so local rabbit that's been farmed and cleaned. We've taken out all the offal, and it's just ready to be chopped up or jointed. So just start off with the legs. If they give you a bit of trouble, just break them off. Then the front legs and the shoulder blade. And depending on the size of the rabbit, you can just leave it in larger chunks or bite-sized pieces. It's always easy to cut it from the backbone down, so just cut through the spine. Okay, small rabbit like this will probably serve 3 or 4 people, depending on how much you eat. So basically, dish has a couple of stages to it. Rabbit's chopped, then we chop some brown shallots, little brown shallots. Make sure you use these, not brown onions. These are going to cook up a lot sweeter. So simply top and tail them, score them a little bit, peel off the skin, and you are away. So for a small rabbit like this, we probably need about 300 or 400 grams of shallots, which I've pre-cleaned. 1 chilli, not a very hot chilli. I always like to use a mild chilli, doesn't predominate the flavour. Just score it in half, and that's all we need. Some cloves, half a dozen cloves, star anise, just 1 or 2 in the sauce, cinnamon quill, 1 of those, bay leaf, 1 or 2, not too much, and some garlic, so maybe 4 or 5 little cloves of garlic. So very simply, start off with the shallots. So using a hot but also very thick pan with a lid. Lid's very important, so use a pan with a lid. It should be a thick pot, because we're going to cook it long and slow once we sort of started off the sauce. So here's cheers for that. So olive oil. As you know, we like to cook with olive oil here, and it's, you know, it's super healthy. So coat the bottom of the pan with a good amount of olive oil, and in go the shallots. So the first stage of this is we need to get these nice and I guess brown. Give them some colour. We'll take them out and then we'll brown off the rabbit, and then we'll go to the next stage, which is our herbs, spices and tomato passata. Just use a good quality tomato passata. You'll probably need about 680 grams or 1 litre. But yeah, we'll just see how we go. We'll suck it and see. I'll splash a bit of white wine in there as well. So the big trick for cooking white meat is white wine. Do not cook them in red wine because the rabbit will stain red and it'll look a bit not good. So yeah, red meat, you can use red wine, no problems. But white meat, always use white wine. So we're just going to brown these shallots off, give them a bit of colour. The shallots will also flavour the oil, which is really important for the next stage, which is cooking the rabbit in this beautiful, aromatic, fragrant oil. Takes a few minutes, so you know, good opportunity to think about life, tax returns, school fees. What day is rubbish day? Who knows? This will take 5 or 6 minutes. So yeah, it's a dish that you don't want to rush. Getting the foundation right is super duper important. Once you've done that, lid goes on. 35 to 45 minutes later, delicioso. Yeah, not a vegan or vegetarian dish, but rabbit could be almost vegetarian. It's kind of really light. You know, it's kind of like a... It's like a chicken with fur. No, they just add a sweetness, which is very difficult to replicate with anything else apart from these, or onion. No, the onion family does it really well. So we're almost done. The onions have become caramelised. We've just been gently stirring these for about 5 minutes, and you can see on a reasonably high heat, we can see that there's some browning off. There's no need to cook them right through just yet. You just need to brown them off and I guess flavour the oil. So we'll just take them out with a strainer, so we leave all the good oil in there. Now if there's some onion left in the bottom of the pan, don't sweat it. This is a rustic dish. You know, a shepherd or a hunter would have made this back in the day, and you know, they were out in the fields. So the next stage is to brown off the rabbit. So in she goes. This won't take too long. The rabbit's quite a delicate meat and there's quite a bit of heat there, so won't take long at all. Again, all you want to do is just brown the flesh. We're not cooking this through, it's just to give it some golden brown colour. The cooking will happen in the next stage when we add the tomato sauce and white wine. Although we were going to marry this dish with a beautiful Adelaide Hills Montepulciano, fantastic with, you know, delicately flavoured game and or any game. So just keep on turning the rabbit so nothing really catches or gets too dark. You just want to get a golden hue on them on all sides. Magic. Okay, so we've been browning away I want to say for about 3 minutes now on a pretty high heat, and we've got the desired effect in terms of colour on the meat. So next step is throwing half a dozen garlic cloves. You can throw them in whole or you can chop them up. Nature of this dish is rustic, so in they go whole. Tomato passata or tomato sauce. One jar. Probably not enough. You probably need a litre in this sort of volume pan. I do them up pretty tight. And a little bit of white wine. So only use good quality white wine or red wine when you're cooking if you need red wine to cook. Yeah, don't cook with wine that you wouldn't drink. I know it sounds like common sense, but a little splash of white wine just to loosen the sauce. And now it's time for our herbs and spices. So one chilli whole, just cut in half. Some cloves, half a dozen cloves. Star anise. Depending on how much star anise you like, it's more aniseed flavour. 1 or 2 is enough for me, but you know, if you want to put more in, knock yourself out. Cinnamon stick, or just one of those. Bay leaf. Again, depending on what you like, I'll just put 2 in just to give another layer of flavour. A little bit of a stir, and we're going to put the browned off brown shallots in now. And once we've done that, it's going to go to sleep for about 35 to 45 minutes. We're going to turn the flame right down and let the stifado do its thing. And that's it. Good night, nurse. We'll come back in 35 minutes and have a check. It'll take, as I said, 35 to 45 minutes. All right, kids, it's been about 35 minutes and here we go. Rabbit stifado. So the sauce has become quite sort of thickened and just getting a touch gelatinous. We're going to just quickly taste for seasoning. We haven't added any salt or pepper to this. We're just basically working off the flavours of the brown shallots and garlic and spices. Yeah, very good, but there's a little bit of salt. So season with sea salt. Don't worry, salt's good for you. Gets rid of demons. Cracked pepper. Plenty of cracked milled pepper. Just give another flavour dimension there, just to, you know, lift it a little bit of spice. There is a little bit of chilli in there, but it's kind of mild because the chilli is mild. And again, a good amount of chopped parsley just to give it a little vegetal high tone lift. And that's it, it's done. I like to serve this, just pop it in the middle of the table with some, you know, with a spoon and some crunchy bread. And yeah, a really great wholesome rabbit dish for, you know, cooler months, you know, watching the footy, days of our lives, the budget. And what better way to enjoy a rabbit with a an Italian-inspired, grown in the Adelaide Hills, Montepulciano. So our Minchia Montepulciano, from an old vineyard in Kersbrook in the Adelaide Hills, planted in about 1996 or 7. Low yielding vineyard, is aged in French oak for about 18 months. So really quite concentrated, rich expression. Will pick up beautifully on these pungent sauces like of tomato and brown shallot, and also the aromatics of the star anise and the cinnamon and cloves. Pretty good. Oh, that is good. That is good. I don't know. I don't know what's better, the food or the wine. A bit of a taste test. I won't use my hands. So, just a bit of rabbit backstrap. Pretty good. Hey guys, it's John from First Drop. We've just cooked some delicious rabbit stifado, which is an old ancient recipe from, I guess it's been cooked around Europe. This is an old Greek recipe that my mother used to cook. So it's basically a small rabbit which has been stewed for about 45 minutes in some brown shallots and garlic and aromatic herbs and spices, star anise, cloves, cinnamon quill, garlic and chilli. So really simple, in a really rich, thick tomato sauce. You can cook this for a lot longer than 45 minutes. Just depends on how much time you've got, and also how gentle and tender you wanna make it. For me, the sweetness comes from the brown shallots and the tomato sauce. Delicious. And what's fantastic with this dish is Montepulciano. So our Montepulciano Minchia is grown in the Adelaide Hills from a little sub-region called Kersbrook. Vineyard planted in the 90s on a tough, sort of bony part of the vineyard, so naturally devigors the vines and produces a low-yielding block of Montepulciano. We typically harvest it at about 14 or 15 Beaumets, so it's quite concentrated, quite rich, and it spends 20 months in French oak puncheons to build up some architecture and some structure, and then it's bottled and aged for a few years pre-release. So a traditional Montepulciano Reserva style with some classic sort of blue fruits, sour cherries, and some lush richness, which does really well with this this rich tomato and shallot and rabbit sauce. Perfect. Cuts through all the flavours, cuts through the tomato, cuts through the shallots, and it's just the perfect accompaniment. This wine is great with other rich dishes, so think ossobuco, think Peking duck, and think other like stews and roasts. Basically, the more pungent the flavour, the more pungent the wine, and anise, Minchia Montepulciano is that wine. Here's cheers. Pretty good.